guys are watching TwistedColor Media, and we're actually following up with Brian here, who is the owner of this beautiful 2002
Subaru WRX Wagon.
And it is actually really cool. So if you guys have seen the cinematic video before, if not, I'll post that link in the description, because it was a really cool shot that we took of this car, and the fact that it is actually right-hand drive. And so I'm actually going to give the floor to Brian here, and he's going to tell you everything he's done with this car and what it has taken from when he first purchased it back around 2010, 2011 or so, up until now here in 2024, and what it has become. So Brian, without further ado, take it away.
Thank you. So I ended up purchasing it as my daily driver back around 2010, 2011. I started doing a little bit here and there. I fell in love with the car, so I knew I wasn't going to sell it, and clearly still have it till this day. I've always been into shows, so I started building it around the whole show aspect versus building the engine and the transmission, all that kind of stuff. So I started with that. Ended up getting the carbon fiber hood, I believe, first. I ended up getting into an accident, so I needed a new hood. So it's like, get a stock hood or get a carbon fiber hood. So I went to the carbon fiber hood.
I would have done the same.
Oh, exactly. From there, I ended up going through a few different coilovers. Went with rotor grid wheels, which I still have. They come in handy sometimes. And then from there, let's think, I went to bags. I bagged it, stretched tires on the rotors, the whole scene of airing it out and with stretched tires. And then I ended up doing the fender flares and the right-hand drive swap at the same time. I believe it was around 2015-16 I did that.
So you've had a right hand for a while now.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah,
almost 10 years.
For a while, yeah. And that was the thing. I saw a buddy of mine. He did a right-hand drive Del Sol in the town I grew up in, and that's kind of what sparked it. And then from there, I just snowballed the drawing in my head to where I could see it, and it worked out perfectly. And ended up pulling the trigger and doing it.
Well, for one, I'm very glad you did, because this is an awesome car to be able to be in the presence of.
Oh, I appreciate it. So I ended up doing that, and my brother and my dad ended up finishing the body work within a week before Boxer Fest. It was the second to last year in Maryland.
Okay.
Yeah, so Bag Riders wanted me to be a booth car, and I made it look good. I think the flares came out okay, but they're body guys, so they did it, made it nice. My brother painted the car, of course, in a Harbor Freight pop-up tent.
There you go.
The week before Boxer Fest, and it's pouring rain, and highly thankful that he did it.
It's amazing it didn't get orange peel pouring rain, man. Holy crap.
He struggled with, I think it was the tailgate. It started fish-eyeing a little bit here and there, so he did it a few times.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, him and my dad banged out the bodywork to where what it looks like now. So that, let's say that was 2016, and then kind of kept it how it was for the longest time. And then I think it was around what, 2018 or 19. I didn't tell you before, I ended up converting it to rear-wheel drive to get into drifting.
Okay.
So it's rear-wheel drive. And
when you were pulling away, I saw it hopping a little bit. Yeah. So I'm like, at first I thought maybe you had the DCCD in there, that you could switch it to 90 in the rear.
Yeah.
90% power in the rear type of thing. And I'm like, I didn't notice that when I was filming it earlier. So it must not be. And it was like in the back of my mind, but I didn't really put two and two together. And now that you said it, I really just confirmed it.
Yeah,
so
you're like, oh, it
awesome.
clicks now.
Yep, that is awesome.
So I ended up converting it to rear-wheel drive to get into drifting. It was just, Sundays were really my only free day, so it's trying to find the motivation to fully commit to doing it, and then also getting to the tracks. The tracks are a little bit of a drive, like we were talking 2 hours away.
Yeah, like English Town and all those kind of places like that. The problem is that for us in like the greater New York, New Jersey area and stuff like that, the nearest track that you can go and do like road course stuff or something like that is a couple of hours away, and that's the reason why, you know, everybody complains about people street racing and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
We keep getting kicked out of having tracks and stuff. Tracks keep getting shut down, like they shut down APCO and stuff like that in Jersey because they end up moving people into these areas that are kind of vacant, and then you have all these extra communities that get popped up around the racetrack that's been there before them, I might add, and then they go and complain about the noise. They shut down the tracks, people start street racing, it becomes a problem for road goers, cops, bystanders, pedestrians, you know, stuff like that. So let's keep tracks open.
Oh, definitely. I support that 1000%. So yeah. So this is the interior on my 2002 right-hand drive swapped WRX. You can see I ended up doing the 05 to 07 center console. I ended up taking the armrest off actually, so that way I can fit the fire extinguisher there. And luckily enough, I was able to find at Joanne Fabrics the same floral pattern that I have in the shift boot. I ended up getting the shift boot from Australia from InFocus and found the same fabric, so I did the door cards and the back of the seats to match, so that way they all float together. And so the Sparco seats were, I'd say, the first interior upgrade that I actually did to the car. I believe I went from the Sparco seats to the center console to the steering wheel, and then it all snowballed when I ended up doing the right-hand drive swap. One of the things that I like, I ended up moving the radio, but the radio plate up top where the clock is, I used to have the radio up there, so it would pop up.
Okay.
Because I always liked how it looked in the Eclipse and the Fast and Furious, how it was a single din that folded up.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting one of those, and luckily I sourced that way back in the day for super cheap. And I wish I bought more, because now they're going for like 300 bucks or something like that, when I think I paid 80 bucks.
A lot of people use them for like GPS stuff and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Nowadays. Check out these pod gauges though, these are really sick. So these are actual AEM gauges.
I actually molded those.
Did you really?
Yeah, because they don't make gauge cluster pods for wagons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
because the pillar is different. It's a slight angle difference.
Yeah, so they do it for sedans, but the wagon's a whole different pillar.
Right.
So I ended up buying a dual pillar and ended up just molding it on.
That's pretty crafty though.
Yeah. So I think it came out pretty good for
I would say so. Hell yeah. One of the things that I really like when I get to see these builds and stuff like that, love the block sticker, by the way, Ken Block, for those of you who don't know who we're talking about. One of the things that I really like is you see like these little custom things that people do to these cars. It's really one-off stuff because nobody else is doing it. Nobody else is offering it to the public type of thing, so we end up having to make our own little custom things and stuff like that. And that's one of my favorite things to see when I get to interview people that have these cars and stuff like that, is what kind of weird little quirks did they run into that they had to address and fix themselves. So here's that part, the radio he was talking about. So those of you that have seen the interior of my car, that's where my 3-pod gauge sits. And that is actually, it looks like the same gauge housing from my Lamco gauges. Might be or might not be. Is that?
It might be.
Yeah, because Subaru did have the 3-pod gauge set that you could buy from Subaru. It's from the factory. That's exactly where I got mine from, the 3-pod.
Yeah, the thing I like too is underneath that it has a metal housing that actually holds the radio like a single din. So all the bolts line up perfectly and it just slips right in there. But with me getting a new radio, it didn't fit perfectly in there, so I had to move it down below. But I put up the radio delete plate from the SCIs. So
nice.
It fit perfect.
And then also another thing that I want to point out is on the hood here is this reverse style scoop, but it still has on the turbo side the forward scoop on there. So those are pretty cool. So it's sleek and a better coefficient of drag having it ramped up like that. But you still get a little bit of snorkel there so that you can dump some cold air down on the turbo, which, if you don't believe me, the turbo's sitting right about down there. So that is like perfect placement for the way they designed that. And that is also C-Bond that made that? Or?
No, that's actually a RPG carbon fiber. I'm not sure where they are, but their products are actually top notch, and
Okay.
a lot of people that I've talked to actually get their products and have zero problems with them. So I ended up getting that scoop. It's a knockoff version of the ARC reverse scoops, but to find an ARC scoop for a bug eye now, you're asking it probably $1,000 or so.
Yeah, everything's going up on these cars nowadays.
Yeah, so I got that from them, and around the muffler in the back, their carbon fiber like shroud, and it fit up perfectly. So definitely
Nice.
good products.
So another thing I'll have you touch on now is we'll work our way to the back here. Something that's really rare. So you generally don't get to see like these mid wings and stuff like that. And the WRXs did have the spoiler like that, either as an option or some people would just delete them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But something that's really, really rare. All right, we got the classic style WRX logo, but still not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about actually is this scuff plate that they make for the back bumper. Was actually a rare option in the Impreza catalog, and I believe that was only in the 2002 Impreza catalog, if I'm not mistaken.
So I know this one fits the 02 bumper. They do have one for, I saw a buddy of mine in Pennsylvania. He had the like I guess the 05 and up rear bumper on his wagon.
The black scuff plate, I believe, right?
No, it was a stainless steel, but where this cuts off, it had a little wing right here because it was a different style bumper. Where this is more square cut,
right?
It like rolled, so it winged off the sides, and that was the only other one that I've seen besides this one.
Okay. Yeah, no. Then I don't know if we took a picture of it before, took a video of it before, but there's also the matching door plates as well. Let's go back around to that so that you guys can see that. As you can see, he kept everything saying Impreza, including the JDM mats in here. But we got the ones from the back as well.
Still has the blue tape on it.
Still has the blue tape. I love it. And a really nice track bar in the back here.
And there's one more goodie.
Oh, yes.
That I ended up buying from a guy in Russia before they shut down the whole shipping from Russia.
Oh, okay.
And he posted it for sale, and I was like, yes, I will send you the money right now. Because
yeah, this is super rare. You don't see these at all.
Oh, no. I've only seen, I think, one other guy in California have one for sale, and it actually had like I think it had the headrest covers.
Okay.
I think it had the same green for the headrest covers.
So that is an extremely rare cargo mat that they made for these cars. Really rare option. Another thing that's really cool is he's got himself a nice blast pipe on the back here, which, as you guys have seen my RX-7, you'll know I have some good blast pipe myself. Not on the WRX, just on the RX-7, but that's because I didn't want to set the bumper on fire again. Keyword I said again. Another thing is that we talked about was these fender flares here. So hopefully the rest of the video that I've taken thus far has given it justice, because these things are really like the size of my hand versus the fender flare itself. That's a pretty thick fender flare. Definitely liking that. And that was actually kind of what drew my attention to this when I saw it at Wicked Big Me. Not to mention all these like WRC, very much of its time, emblems and sponsors and stuff like that. DC was a sponsor of theirs back in the 2000s and stuff like that. We got the Subi Pig on the mirror as well. Subaru Performance Tuning, which actually I have their intake, and their battery mount and a bunch of other shit on my car. So, and then we got Airlift, AEM, Bag Riders, White Line, which I also have a lot of their stuff on my car. Their sway bars and stuff like that. Links, and what do you call it? The end links and all that kind of stuff. Bushings, I got it all. So he's got the Sparko thing on here. We got another little homage to Ken Block. So I'm really just, the whole build all around, I have to say, is just top notch. I really love this car, and it sounds amazing, which you guys will get to hear a little bit more of that in a few. Not to mention also that he came all the way up from Jersey for me to be able to feature this car, so that's something that's really cool about it. And the fact that we got everything matching on here, I just have to say this is a top notch car.